What do you mean that you can't tell me anything? That's my child in there in the hospital. Okay, terrible title, but you know, so many of us have kiddos that have gone off to college. And, you know, of course, if something happens, we're going to need to make decisions for them. But with the stupid HIPAA laws anymore, you can't have access to anything, whether it has something to do with their financials, something to do with their grades, something to do with, you know, a medical emergency. Fact is, your college student needs a durable power of attorney, just to make sure that you can make any decisions if there's an emergency. And a lot of them have already gone off, and I really should have thought about this before, but something came up that made me think about that. And I actually have had a couple of people reach out asking about doing a power of attorney for their college students. So we're actually going to do a flash sale just for powers of attorney for your kiddos. Most of you really, you know, most of the kids, they don't have any property or anything. We don't need to worry about a will or anything like that. Hopefully that they have you on the title to their car and have you on the title to their bank account. So there's usually not those kind of issues or problems. They probably had those accounts for a long time, but it is a good thing to think about, because some of those kids, they've had to open new accounts because the bank they used at home, they don't have where they're going to school. So you need to make sure that you get added on to their bank account. That's not always super easy to do, because you have to sign, you know, you have to sign the signature card for the account and everything else. But next time you're down visiting, make sure that you go ahead and get that accomplished if they had to open a new account. So the durable power of attorney really is just going to allow you to get information. Theoretically, you know, a lot of times, sometimes they will give you information, but they're really not supposed to. HIPAA laws started out to be such a great idea, but they've really kind of become a major impediment, you know, to making sure that normal relationships that you're going to be able to get some help. Same thing on your elderly parents. Mine are good to go. They've had powers of attorney for a very long time. Probably, maybe fortunately, I am not the power of attorney for them. And that's okay too. That's definitely something that you need to think about. It's usually better to only have one parent listed, just to have one, and then have the other parent listed as the alternative. It can be kind of weird if you have both of them listed about whether both have to make the decisions and things like that. And especially if your kiddos are not going to school anywhere near you, you know, maybe only one is flying out to take care of an emergency while the other one has to stay home with your other kids, or just for job reasons, they can't get off work, or whatever the case may be. So better to just make sure that you list one and then list that other parent as an alternative. It's no big deal to switch those out if there is an issue or a problem. So just something to think about. We are going to do that for students, and I should have that up and going in the next day or two, but I think we're just going to do a $97 sale on that. You can go in, buy that. The form is already in there. They can go ahead and fill it out. They will have to get it notarized, but they can go to any bank and get their signature notarized. So it's not a big deal. You'll just have to keep on them to make sure that they get that done. And if you don't have your estate planning done, shame on you, because you need to get that finished. If you have kiddos, there's really no excuse for you to not get those things in place, especially if you are a single parent. You don't really have that backup of your spouse. It's, believe it or not, you think that because you're the spouse that you're going to have, the authority to do pretty much anything that you want. But I've actually had some cases where there were issues with medication and somebody taking it on their own, and the social workers and physicians and everything else were boxing out that spouse when clearly the person was not capable of taking care of their own medications. So again, if you have kiddos, sometimes they think they also are making the right decisions. But these are big, huge decisions, and maybe you should be a part of that. And it is kind of a good way for you to maybe be bossy a little bit about being involved in things. So definitely you can talk to some of your friends. I definitely have friends that are doctors and nurses, and they'll tell you that HIPAA stuff stinks. So make sure that you get those college students to do their DPA. Like I said, hopefully I'll have that up in a day or two, so that you can automatically just go in, pay for it, and fill those out. A lot of us have had friends of our kids with some tragic situations. We had a kid on our wrestling team that was out hunting and accidentally shot himself. There's car accidents. There's just different stuff that happens that's completely unexpected. And not that I'm trying to freak you out, because I know every parent who has kiddos going out to college, you don't want to think about those things. But let's just do it. Make sure that they're taken care of, especially, for those of you like me whose kiddo is involved in sports. Like, you never know when you may need to get in there, make sure that you have information. Sometimes it's really hard to get a hold of their coaches in situations and everything else. And so let's just make sure that you can get in there, know where they are, have information from the hospital, even if it's not like a huge thing, but just make sure you have access to know what's going on with them. Okay, so super important to make sure that you get those things done. I always want to make sure that I'm offering some stuff out there that are really going to help you as a parent. And this is one of those things that honestly, you just have to get this done. So kind of looking at some of the questions here. Oh, interesting. Everybody is always so fussy about doing Facebook Lives while we're driving. I swear, I'm not even looking at the camera the entire time. So people are often very fussy about those kind of things. But anyway, so there you go. You can fuss at me about doing that, but really, as an attorney, I have to take my time where I can get it, and that is one of the only things. So you can kind of tell I'm not really, every once in a while I'll look at it, but I'm not really that worried about it. And honestly, even if I wasn't doing a Facebook Live, I'd be still thinking about my cases and everything else, so I wouldn't be any less distracted. So Mike, I hope that helps you makes you feel a little bit better about me doing my Facebook Live while I am driving. So anyway, it is what it is. I appreciate concern. I appreciate constructive criticism, so no worries. But anyway, thanks guys. Like I said, I'll try to have that up in the next week or so, and make sure that you have access to your college students' health information if you need it. Okay, thanks, and have a great day.